Limo, there is a film you must see. It is on iTunes, and what's unusual about it is it has been released digitally, not at the cinemas. Why? Because the co-writer, star, director
all of the above
is trying to give Australian films a chance to be seen, which often doesn't happen in the cinema. It's called Mule. Have a listen.
You're being detained under suspicion of concealing narcotics. We're with the federal police. The law permits us to detain you for 7 days. The sooner you go to the toilet, the sooner we all go home.
You got something you want to tell us? No.
And the man whose bottom gets a very good showing on the film is Angus Sampson, who joins us now. Angus, hi.
Hi, Bridge. Hello, Limo. How are you?
Is there, because, Bridge, you mentioned the digital release. There's almost a digital release scene in the film as well, isn't there?
It's curiously enough, you can't, if ever your listeners get into trouble with the police, you can't actually be X-rayed or examined internally without giving your permission.
Yeah,
So you can just say no.
Well, you could in 1983, and that's what our, I guess, hero says.
Now that's what I'm interested to know, because it said it is inspired by true events. How true are the events?
Well, the story is a gentleman is coerced into muling lethal narcotics back to Australia from Thailand on an end-of-season footy trip.
That old footy trip.
Limo's been there a few times.
It's a bit of one of those.
So there's a standard end-of-season footy trip. He gets caught at Melbourne Airport and is told that, he has to give permission for these things. Of course, he says no, being out of his depth. He then is appointed a legal aid lawyer who then says, these guys, the police have to release you after 7 days without any solid evidence. And, of course, he tries to withhold the evidence. The true story that it was based on happened in New Zealand, and a gentleman was arrested. He was concealing drugs inside of him. They could hold him for 3 days, 72 hours. So it sort of makes a bit more of a not an obvious, but a bit more achievable to go, I can hold on for 3 days, surely.
It's one of those...
if I was pushed, if I was facing 10 years prison time, I could hang on for 3 days.
What's the longest you've lasted?
Look, I haven't kept a record of it, but I reckon probably maybe a couple of days. I don't know.
What about you, Bridge? That's a question everyone wants to know.
Yeah, that's right. Gee whiz, I don't think I could do 7 days.
You can't actually stop your bowels.
No.
It's like your heart, but you can't voluntarily stop it. So there's a great tension there.
When you were researching the role, Angus, because you, of course, play the main player, the mule in the film, did you trial it yourself, just as your own little experiment to see how many days you could go?
I think I'm probably the most regular Australian. I'm very regular, but I did practice swallowing grapes.
Oh my God!
Because in the film,
yes.
I swallow 6 condoms of heroin in the film. And the reason, I guess, it's heroin, not that you ever see anyone having it or anything, but we just wanted to have something that was very lethal, i.e. if they split inside him, he's going to die. If they come out, he's going to jail. So it was a great sort of, what do you do?
And the whole watching you, is he going to go to the toilet, is he not, was just, I couldn't stop watching. There's some pretty... There's a scene in particular, which I won't mention because I know Lemo hasn't seen the end yet, but where you involves your grape-like behaviour, but with a nasty twist. Goodness me.
Well, we wanted to see whether or not we could write a suspenseful film about not going to the bathroom. I thought it was a fairly perverse premise, and I wrote it with my great friend Lee Winnell, who I used to do a television show on the ABC called Recovery, and Lee went on to create these horror films, the Saw franchise, and he and I act in the Insidious horror films, which he just directed the third one, which we've got coming out in May. So he and I sat down based on this, a friend of ours, Jamie Brown, who the original story it's based on, and it's set in Sunshine in Melbourne. Yeah. We've got Hugo Weaving playing
Hugo Weaving's so evil.
He's really evil, one of the federal cops. Of course, the AFP are never like that. And Ewan Leslie, Noni Hazelhurst plays my mum, and Jeff Morrell, my dad. There's a great cast.
And you are a little dim, would be fair to say.
Passive.
Passive or dim?
It is a great Aussie cast. Dave Lawson as well, who I love
yes.
seeing pop up at the start, and a nice little cameo.
Yeah,
there.
he plays a great. He's that guy that's at every footy club, Cheeky Graham.
Yeah, and
his
he's
character.
like every footy club has that bloke that
Yeah.
just yells just ridiculous rubbish out all the time during every speech ever.
Now, you must be excited because already sales are 5 times what they would be had
Yes.
you put it on the cinemas. And everyone's previewing. In America, it's going really well with the previews.
Well, that's right. In this country, if you put your film out at the cinema, you're not allowed to release it 120 calendar days anywhere else.
Yeah.
So if your listeners have kids or your listeners don't live near the Cinema Nova, the great Cinema Nova in Carlton, it's a real hassle and effort to watch the film. We've just tried to put the audience first at every time, and we released the film digitally last Friday in America, in Australia, in New Zealand and Canada. We partnered up with iTunes and other digital platforms, and it was number 1 in America and Australia.
He's
straight
going
away.
to go gangbusters. It's a really, really good film. Best Australian film I've seen in a long time.
It is a great film, and so people listening right now, if you like the sound of it, you can just wander into your lounge room, turn on your Apple TV or your iTunes.
After your show, of course.
Oh, yeah.
After the show,
6
let it give it a couple of minutes to download, and then at 9 a.m. Now, just very quickly, Angus, can we talk about your great mate Lee Winnell? Here's a man who knows how to pull a winner together. The Saw franchise, in total, about 37 films, I believe, cost about $400 and have grossed about $1 billion. Now, the Insidious, the 2 films, which you've been involved in, cost $6.5 million and have grossed $260 million.
It's incredible, isn't it?
It's remarkable.
The first film cost $800,000 US and it grossed $100 million. And then the second one, I think, was $5 million to make, and it was $140 million. It's gross. So the third one we've got coming out on the 29th of May next year, and that's Lee's directorial debut. And he and I are in it. It's a prequel, the Insidious films. It's incredible that we have that, I guess, bubbling away in the massive mainstream, and then we're able to come and make a film that only could exist in Australia, I think.
Oh, look, it's just it is so. I just absolutely loved it, Angus. You're very, very clever.
Thank you, Bridge.
So it reeks of tonight.
It reeks of right now.
It reeks of right now. It reeks of tonight. It reeks of any night. The Mule. It is called, starring Angus Sampson, also written and directed, co-written and directed. Get a look at it on iTunes. It's fantastic. Thanks, Angus.
Thanks, Bridge. Thanks, Lima. Thanks for having me in.